We're going to take a look at the greenhouse effect and its connection to global warming and climate change. In the first illustration, we see essentially what the greenhouse effect is. Light from the sun enters our atmosphere, and when it does, it heats up the surface of the earth. So effectively, we are taking visible light from the sun and converting it to infrared. And infrared, some of it will escape our atmosphere, but some of it will get trapped. And what traps the infrared are greenhouse gases, and the most well-known of the greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide, which is also represented by the chemical symbol CO2. Because CO2 is transparent to visible light, all of the sun's visible light does enter. But CO2 does a very good job of blocking infrared, so a lot of the infrared gets trapped and reflected back down to the earth so that we hold in the heat. Now, the greenhouse effect on a small scale is a good thing. This prevents our temperatures from dropping below zero in every evening. So we want a little bit of greenhouse effect. The problem is, and the next picture shows that, the fact that the concentration of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere has dramatically grown since the Industrial Revolution. Because carbon dioxide naturally comes from breathing. Every time we exhale carbon dioxide. And it comes naturally from volcanoes. When volcanoes erupt, they produce, among other things, carbon dioxide. But those are constants. We aren't breathing any more than we have in the past, and there aren't that many more volcanoes than there were in the past. So this growth of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere is not coming from natural sources, but from man-made sources, and in particular from the burning of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, this could be gas, coal, even wood, will produce carbon dioxide when burnt. And so as you can see, as our society has gone to a highly industrialized, using more and more coal, more and more gas, our concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has grown dramatically, much, much farther above the historical averages. The consequence of the increased amount of CO2 is that the more CO2 you've got, the more heat you trap. And so having these higher and higher concentrations of carbon dioxide have led to higher and higher temperatures, which is what the third graph shows. From about the time of the Industrial Revolution in 1860 to the year 2000, you can see that our average temperature is increasing. Now, if you look at the scale, you say, oh, well, that's not very much. It's only gone up about 1 degree Celsius. But that actually is enough to dramatically change the environmental conditions. There are many consequences to the increased temperature. The one that you hear the most about is melting ice caps. And of course, if the ice caps melt, that water has to go somewhere, and where it goes is into the oceans, so we get rising ocean levels. And there are even some small islands that have disappeared as a result of the rising ocean levels. Other consequences, because the temperature is higher, we get more droughts, and we have seen that in recent years, especially in the western part of the United States and parts of the South. You get more extreme weather, because when you have higher temperatures, you get much stronger convection currents that build up these massive storms. So hurricanes become stronger, tornadoes become more frequent. All of these kinds of things occur as a result of the higher temperatures. And you even get more spread of disease as a result of these higher temperatures. For example, malaria, which we think of as being concentrated in the tropics, is spreading outside of that tropics region. Because of the warmer temperatures, it is surviving in those regions that in the past were not conducive to malaria. And the same is true for plants. Plants that are not used to the higher temperatures are going to be dying out. And so we are going to experience more and more changes in our environment as a result of these higher concentrations of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. And that all ties back to the greenhouse effect, this trapping of heat that carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases provide. So what can we do? Well, the bottom line is we need to reduce the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, bring the numbers back down to where they were in the past, and then our general climate situation can return back to normal. And that comes to the burning of fossil fuels. We need to find alternatives, and we need to use more environmentally friendly energy sources.